Welcome to Greedy Bitch, a podcast where we teach you to go from being burnt out, broke, and broken to healthy, wealthy, and happy. Building a grooming business on your terms. Here's your host, River Lee.
Classic ones and zeros, baby. I'm obsessed with you. Give it to me, baby. Every Monday, every Monday. Everything I need.
Hello, and welcome back to Greedy Bitch, the podcast for groomers who are done apologizing for wanting more. I'm your host, Riverly, founder of The Savvy Groomer. And if you're new here, this podcast is where we talk about the real stuff behind running a grooming business, the money, the mindset, the boundaries, and all the messy middle that comes with it. And listen, we're hitting that time of year again, the holidays, when every human on earth seems to lose their mind just a little bit. Clients are calling last minute. Everyone suddenly forgot that Christmas is the same day every single year. People are cranky, tired, stressed, and that may include you. But here's the truth, my friend. This isn't just about the holidays. This is a highlight reel of who people really are under pressure. So today, let's talk about how to recognize when enough is enough. Today's episode is Enough is Enough, knowing when to fire, freeze, or fix. I'm going to help you decide how to tell when someone, a client, an employee, or even a coworker, has crossed the line from being stressful to simply unacceptable. And even better, how to stop guessing and start collecting data so that when it comes to January, you're going to make a clear, confident decision instead of an emotional and exhausted one. So, guys, let's take a deep breath. Go ahead and grab a notebook, a coffee, and let's get into it. Well, let's start here. I know everyone's cranky right now. Clients, staff, even your delivery driver who's running 3 hours late. It's chaos. You're running on caffeine and adrenaline, praying the power doesn't go out mid-bath, okay? But I want you to remember that something that's going to change how you see it the whole season. Stress doesn't create bad people, it reveals them. This time of year, people show their true colors. And if you pay attention this month, it will tell you everything you need to know about them and who you want to be in business with next year. Some folks, when things get hard, they get generous. They bring cookies, they show up on time because they know you're slammed. They even tip a little extra because they see your effort. Those are your green flag people, your soulmate clients, your team players, your keepers. But then there's the other kind, the ones who, the moment life doesn't go perfectly their way, start acting like the world owes them special treatment. They nitpick, they guilt trip. They send those, hey, just checking in messages that really mean, why are you prioritizing me over everyone else? And here's the kicker. They've probably been like this all year. You just haven't had the bandwidth to notice because when you're busy and stressed, the little things that used to be no big deal start to sting. The tone in their voice, the sarcastic comment, the coworker who just has a bad attitude. Let's be honest, some of those relationships were fine when things were easy, but now you're starting to see what's underneath. That is going to be what we're going to call the gift of December. Everyone's mask slips a little bit, and instead of judging them or yourself, I want you to use that as data. Now, data doesn't sound super sexy, does it? But data is power. Data is how you stop running your business based on emotion and start running it like a CEO that you are. So this month, I want you to become a quiet observer. Think of yourself as a scientist in your own business. You're not jumping to conclusion. You're just here collecting information. Who apologizes when they mess up? Who gets defensive when you set a boundary? Who handles pressure with grace versus who has a meltdown and lashes out? If a client shows up late once, okay, life happens. But if they're late 3 times, complain about the price increase and then act like they're doing you a favor by showing up at all, girl, that's not your client. That's a walking red flag wrapped up in tinsel. Same goes for your team. If your bather forgets to restock shampoo once, then oops. But if it's happening every week and they're mid-husky and there's no shampoo in sight and they're just screaming for you to come find them, right? And then they roll their eyes when you bring it up, that's a pattern. And an uncomfortable truth is that patterns do not lie. Here's another thing to watch for: how people treat you when you say no. It's easy for someone to be nice when you're saying yes, but to tell them no, tell them when you can't squeeze them in, or when there's a late fee, or that you're closed on Christmas Eve. See what happens. Do they respect you? Or do they try to make you feel guilty? That reaction tells you everything. Because respectful clients don't make you defend your boundaries. They might be disappointed, but they get it. They'll say, no worries, I'll book earlier next time. And then there's the other kind. You can't just make an exception for me? Wow, I thought you valued my business. Now, let's be honest, that's manipulation. That is not loyalty. And listen, I'm not here to say cut everyone off in the moment they frustrate you. This isn't just about being reactive. It's about being aware. You can't manage what you don't measure, and you can't fix what you won't admit is broken. So instead of venting to your friends or spiraling in your head, start writing it down. Seriously, grab a sticky note, a notebook, or on your phone, whatever works. I used to, in my business, actually carry around a tiny moleskin notebook that I would keep in my back pocket. So when something happens, I could jot it down, what it was, and how did it make me feel. And it wasn't about keeping score, it was about building clarity. Because by the time January rolls around, you're going to have to look at that list and see what patterns were invisible before. And that's when you realize, oh, this isn't holiday stress. This is who they really were, and they think you'll tolerate it. You know how people say the way someone talks to wait staff tells you who they are? Well, the way your clients act during December tells you who they'll be the rest of the year. So let this month be your audition tape. Who gets cast in season 2026 of your business, and who's getting written out of the script? Because if you want peace, profit, and better clients next year, this is where it starts. Not by burning bridges, by seeing it clearly. Collect the data now. Your future self will thank you. All right, so now that you're going to start collecting data, let's talk about how you're actually going to use it. I want to introduce you to a little system I swear every groomer needs to be tattooed on their forearm, the three strikes rule. This is my go-to when if you're not sure something is worth firing someone over, or if you're just tired and overreacting. Gives you structure, gives you emotional distance, it gives you permission to stop second guessing yourself. Because if you're anything like me, you've probably spent hours wondering, am I being too sensitive? Am I overreacting? Maybe they didn't mean it that way. Girl, no, you are not crazy. You're just conditioned to tolerate chaos. So this is how the rule works. Strike one is a mistake. They forgot to confirm their appointment. They showed up late once. Your new bather mixed up some shampoo bottles. It happens. People are human. Life gets messy. Traffic, sick kids, alarm didn't go off. Whatever. The first strike is your grace period. You give them the benefit of the doubt, but you're still going to document it. Because one strike doesn't make someone a villain, but it will give you context later. Think of it like dating. The first time someone forgets to text you back, you don't end it, but you notice, you file it away. If it never happens again, great, they had a bad day. If it does happen again, well, we need to talk about strike two, which is patterns. No, I think this is where most groomers get stuck. You've addressed it once, maybe even twice. You've reminded them, you've set expectations, and then they go ahead and do it again. At this point, it's not a mistake anymore. It's a behavior, and behaviors are choices. When someone keeps crossing your boundary after you've communicated it clearly, they're not confused. They're testing you. You see this all the time. The client who no-shows twice and says, oh my gosh, I forgot again. Can you squeeze me in? Or the bather who accidentally clocks out early every Friday. They know exactly what they're doing. They're seeing if you mean what you say. And listen, this is where your people-pleasing brain tries to negotiate. Well, they're going through a lot. It's the holiday. I don't want to be mean. Listen, I get it. But this is where your boundaries in your business are either built or broken. Because if you keep excusing behavior, you're teaching them how to treat you. And when you allow something twice, you've just turned it into an expectation. This brings us to strike three, which is choice. By this point, you've already had two opportunities to do better. You've been clear, you've been kind, and you've even given them a roadmap how to fix whatever it is. So if they do it again, it's not an accident. This is a decision. And when someone is actively choosing to disrespect your policies, your time, or your team, it's not a miscommunication. It's a mismatch. You don't need to explode. You don't need to have a meltdown. Honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't even bother trying to justify it. You just need to make a note. This person has shown me who they are. And when somebody shows you who they are, it's important to believe them. I can hear you guys already. But River, it's Christmas. Everyone's stressed. Don't we owe them a little grace? Absolutely. Sure. Grace once, maybe even twice. But if someone only acts like a decent human being when life's convenient for them, there's no way that's your soulmate client. Okay, that's a seasonal one. That's a fling client. That's someone you fit in when you want to make a little extra cash. And you, my friend, are not building a business founded on people who can't be relied upon. The three strikes rule isn't about being harsh, it's about being methodical. It's a way to protect your peace and profit without letting guilt run your business. Because grooming is already hard enough. You've got hair in your bra, your feet are killing you, you're trying to eat lunch over the dryer. And you don't need the same people stealing your joy 3 times in a row. Here's how to make this practical. Create a simple list, literally pen, paper, phone app, whatever. 3 columns, client or employee, whoever, name, how many strikes, and the context for notes, right? For example, you know, Mrs. Brown, Bella, Maltese, right? However you need to organize her. Late again, blame traffic. Second reminder sent, and you may even want to add, waived late fee. Tom, the bather, left hair all over the goddamn place. Maybe you don't want to put it that way. I would. You know, gave him written warning, right? And again, this is important because if we are going to potentially have to let go of employees, we need to start looking at the behavior and we need to do things like written warnings and have that be measurable, like things like a PIP and things like that. Or what about like Mrs. Lopez, like Brody's mom? Maybe like texted angrily about matted fee, refused to pre-book. Now, if that person calls, am I going to give her that Saturday same day? Probably not. Now, please note, it's not about judging, it's about documenting. This is your receipts file because when January hits in your comma, you can look at this list and make clear decisions. Who's improving? Who's still testing you? Who's got to go? Okay. And this is to make data-driven decisions, not emotional ones. And when you do, you'll notice something magical happens. You stop feeling guilty about holding boundaries and you start feeling more confident about who you give your time to because you're not just firing a client, you're starting to curate your piece. You're creating a safer, saner work environment, not just for you, but also your employees. Let me put it this way. Every minute you re-explaining the rules to someone who doesn't care is a minute stolen from the client and staff who actually do care. The three strikes rule help you stop chasing the wrong people so you can start nurturing the right ones. And if you're worried about hurting people's feelings, remember accountability isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You're not punishing anyone, you're simply refusing to participate in the patterns that burn you out. So let's take a second to think about it. Who in your business is already sitting on strike two? Who keeps forgetting or not realizing or just assuming? This week, don't react, record, because the more you track, the more empowered you'll feel to make decisions based on truth instead of fatigue. All right, my friend, take a deep breath. This season will test you, no doubt. But remember, the chaos isn't here to destroy you, it's here to reveal you. You've worked too hard to build a business that makes you miserable. You deserve some peace. You deserve profit. And guess what? You deserve respect. So this week, grab your client list, go through with a highlighter, ideally green, yellow, and either red, pink, or blue. Okay. So green is for your soulmate clients, yellow is for needing a boundary. Maybe they have already hit strike two. Okay. And then red, blue, or pink, whichever color you have, this is going to be people that it's time to go. Okay. These are the people that you need to start creating an exit strategy. These are the people that I don't think should be on your books next Christmas. You're going to start collecting your data now because come January, you're going to go make some moves, not excuses. And when you do, you'll be stepping into the next season of your business as the boss that you have always been meant to be. Anyway, until next time, guys, stay savvy, stay greedy, and never apologize for wanting more.
Thanks for listening. Find us on social media at The Savvy Groomer and online at savvygroomer.com. Subscribe to be notified for our new episodes. Until next time, happy grooming.